Hey, welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really powerful ancient idea, the concept that you're not just one single thing, but actually three distinct parts working together in harmony. Seriously, this framework could totally change how you see yourself, so let's get right into it. So, let's start with a big question, one you've probably kicked around in your own head before. It gets right to the very heart of who you are. When you look past your physical body, and all that nonstop chatter in your mind, who are you, really? Now, the source material we're looking at today points to this one specific verse as the key that unlocks this entire concept. It suggests we're not just a single entity, but a composite being. And just notice the three distinct parts it calls out: spirit, soul, and body. This idea, it's the foundation for everything we're about to explore. And that leads us right to this core idea, the Trinity within us. So, let's break down what it means to be a three-part being, because understanding this is really the first big step toward what the source calls soul healing. According to the source, these three parts aren't just, roommates sharing the same space. They're designed to work together in perfect alignment. When they're all functioning the way they're supposed to, they create a complete and whole person. So think of it less like some lofty philosophical idea and more like a practical blueprint for how we're actually built. Okay, so what are the spirit, the soul, and the body exactly? Let's define these, because each one has a very specific and very important role to play in the whole system. All right, first up, the body. This is the most straightforward part, right? It's our physical vessel, our way of connecting with the world around us. But here's a fascinating little detail. The Hebrew word for it is Adama, which literally means earth or ground. Our body actually roots us to the physical world. Pretty cool. Next up is the spirit. This is described as our deepest essence, our life force. And the source breaks it down into two main components. You've got the mind, which is where we hold our knowledge and our conscience. And then you've got the heart, which is the home of our feelings, our desires, and our ability to believe. This is our core, kind of like the unseen engine room of our entire being. And finally, we have the soul. Now, this is where it all comes together. The soul is the expression of our inner life. It's our personality, our character. It's the meeting point, the great mediator between our inner spirit and our outer body. And get this is what I think is so brilliant. The Greek word for soul is psyche. Sound familiar? It's the root of our modern word psychology. The connection is right there. So we've got the parts, but how do they all work together? Let's zoom in on the soul and see how it really functions as our ultimate expression to the world. This diagram shows it perfectly. See how the soul is sitting right there in the middle? It's constantly getting information from two directions. The outer world flows in through the body's senses, and our inner world flows in from the spirit's thoughts and feelings. The soul acts as the central processor for our entire experience of life. And here is the absolutely crucial point. The soul is constantly processing all of this input. But as the source material highlights, this information is never neutral. It can be good or bad, true or false, helpful or deeply, deeply harmful. The soul takes all of this in and uses it to forge our character, our reactions, and our unique expression in the world. So if the soul is constantly processing both helpful and harmful stuff, it stands to reason that it can get damaged, right? Well, this brings us to the ultimate goal described in the text: healing. And the source says healing is the same thing as salvation. So if this is how we're designed, what's the whole point of faith in this context? According to the source, what is all of this supposed to be leading towards? And boom, here's the answer pulled directly from the New Testament. The end goal, the entire purpose of faith, is described as the salvation of your souls. And just notice how specific that is. It's not about the body or even just the spirit, but specifically the soul, that central processing unit we were just talking about. Okay, and this is where it all just clicks into place. The Greek word they used in the New Testament for salvation is soterion. Now, what's so important about that? Soterion doesn't just mean salvation in some legal abstract sense. It also means healing. The source is crystal clear on this. In this context, the two words are interchangeable. To save the soul is to heal the soul. And just to really hammer this point home, the source points out that some of the earliest English translations of the Bible didn't even use the word salvation. They translated soterion as health. So the goal of faith was understood as receiving the health of your souls. I mean, that really reframes the whole idea, doesn't it? You know, this whole idea of personal soul healing was actually a massive shift in thinking at the time. So let's take a look at how this ancient idea was sort of renewed and brought to the forefront. This chart just lays it out so clearly. In the Old Testament, salvation often meant something external, like rescuing the entire nation from hardship, and it was based on the group obeying the law. But the New Testament completely reframes salvation as an internal, personal journey. It's all about the healing of the individual soul based on personal faith, not just following rules. It's a fundamental shift from the external to the internal. And all of this leads to a really profound and honestly kind of challenging conclusion from the source. It argues that while God provides the spirit and the body, our soul, that unique expression of who we are, well, that's something we actively create. We are the ones processing all the information and shaping the final output. The responsibility? It's placed right on our shoulders. And so, we end with the question that this whole idea leaves us with. If you are the creator of your own soul, shaping it every single day with what you choose to let in, what kind of soul are you building? And what story is it telling the world? That's a pretty powerful thought to sit with.